So there is nothing but haloalkanes when react with magnesium metal in the presence of dry ether gives alkyl magnesium halide. So this alkyl magnesium halide, what is formed here? This is known as Grignard reagent. Grignard reagent. Nothing but this Grignard reagent is an example of organometallic compound. What are organometallic compounds? See, the compounds in which a carbon atom is directly bonded to metal atom in organic compounds, those are called as organometallic compounds. Now let us see an example for this. So if you take a methyl iodide, when allowed to react with magnesium in the presence of dry ether, then we can get a methyl magnesium iodide. This is a methyl magnesium iodide. Methyl magnesium iodide. So here there exists a bond between carbon atom of alkyl group and magnesium. So like this, the compounds containing a bond between carbon atom and metal atom are called as organometallic compounds. So Grignard reagent is an example for organometallic compounds. So this is the reaction of haloalkanes with magnesium. So in the same way, if you take a haloarene X, when haloarenes are allowed to react with magnesium in the presence of dry ether, then we can get a C6H5 MgX. This is nothing but a phenyl magnesium halide. So this is called as a phenyl magnesium halide. Then what is halogen here? Suppose if the halogen is bromine or iodine, then the reaction is carried out in the presence of dry ether. The product is same, phenyl magnesium bromide or iodide. Suppose if a halogen is X, that is F of chlorine. If halogen is chlorine, then the reaction is carried out in DMF. So here DMF means dimethyl formamide. This is an aprotic solvent. See, so here just write here DMF means this is dimethyl formamide. Dimethyl formamide. Say HCONH2. This is called as a formamide. This contains a formyl group, nothing but aldehyde group, and a amide group, CONH2 group. Now at the nitrogen, if these two hydrogens are replaced by two methyl groups, now this is called as a dimethyl formamide. So in a simple way, just will represent as DMF. DMF means dimethyl formamide. This is a aprotic solvent. So depending on the halogen, if bromo and iodoalkanes are taken, the medium used is dry ether. If a chlorobenzene is used to react with magnesium, then we use DMF, dimethyl formamide, as medium. So this is the reaction of haloarenes with magnesium. In the same way, this haloarenes also react with nothing but halobenzene, also react with lithium and gives aryl lithium, Li, plus LiX, 2 moles. This is another reaction. So when haloarenes are allowed to react with lithium metal, same in the presence of DMF, dimethyl formamide, then it means phenyl lithium. So this is the product formed here. So this is regarding a reaction of haloarenes with haloalkanes as well as haloarenes with metals. One thing. So why we have to use here dry ether? And the medium what we are using here, it should be an aprotic solvent. Suppose instead of aprotic solvent, here if you use a protic solvent, what are protic solvents? Which can release proton, like water. Water is a protic solvent. Formic acid or alcohols or amines or acetylides, like this. So these contains a replaceable hydrogen, means acidic hydrogen. So the compounds which contains acidic hydrogen should not be used here. Suppose if the compounds containing acidic hydrogens are used here, then what will happen is, what the Grignard reagent formed here, that Grignard reagent immediately react with that solvent what you have taken here and use various types of compounds, means the corresponding alkane will be formed. Let us see that equation, I'll tell you. Right. Let us see. Suppose here in this process, if any solvent contains acidic hydrogens, what the Grignard reagent formed here are MgX. Plus, suppose if moisture is present, let us take, or any compound what I mentioned there, then this Grignard reagent react readily with that compound which contains acidic hydrogen, and the alkyl group combines with hydrogen of that and forms a alkane or H plus MgOHX. This is product. So what the medium we have taken, this should be an aprotic solvent, it should not be a protic solvent. The solvent should not release protons. If the solvent releases protons, what the Grignard reagent formed here, that Grignard reagent immediately react with that and use the corresponding alkane. What the alkyl group present in the Grignard reagent, the corresponding alkane will be formed. So this is regarding reactivity of haloarenes. Now, and one more reaction, reduction of haloarenes. Reduction of haloarenes. So if you take a haloarene, like chloro or bromo or iodobenzene, chlorobenzene. So when this is allowed to reduce in the presence of nickel aluminum Li in NaOH. So reduction of haloarenes in the presence of nickel aluminum Li in NaOH, then this haloarene is reduced to arene, nothing but benzene. So chlorobenzene is reduced to benzene plus HCl. So chlorobenzene is reduced to benzene when allowed to react with the nickel aluminum Li in NaOH. So this is regarding reduction of chlorobenzene. So this is about the chemical properties of haloarenes, nucleophilic substitution reactions, electrophilic substitution reactions, and then reaction with metals. Right. Now we'll discuss regarding the mechanism of nucleophilic substitution reactions. This is a very important one. So every year in every paper they are asking this mechanism for 3 marks. Very important. Mechanism of nucleophilic substitution reactions. Right. So mechanism of nucleophilic substitution reactions. What are different types of nucleophilic substitution? First I'll tell here. SN1. This is a unimolecular nucleophilic substitution reaction. The second one, SN2. So bimolecular nucleophilic substitution reaction. In addition to these, some are also there. SNI, that is intramolecular nucleophilic substitution reaction. And one more is there, NGP, nothing but a neighboring group participation nucleophilic substitution reactions. So 4 types of nucleophilic substitution reactions are there: SN1, SN2, SNI, and SNNGP, means neighboring group participating reaction. But here, as per our syllabus, we are going to learn about SN1 and SN2 mechanisms. First, I'll go for SN1 mechanism. So this SN1 mechanism. So unimolecular nucleophilic substitution reaction. I'll take an example for this first. So what is this? This is nothing but tertiary butyl chloride. Tertiary butyl chloride undergo hydrolysis in the presence of aqueous NaOH. In the presence of aqueous NaOH, tertiary butyl chloride undergo hydrolysis and gives a tertiary butyl alcohol as the product. Plus NaCl. This is tertiary butyl alcohol. So tertiary butyl chloride undergo hydrolysis in the presence of aqueous NaOH and use a tertiary butyl alcohol. This is the reaction. Then what is the mechanism of this reaction? Let us see now. Mechanism. Step 1. See here we are carrying the reaction in the presence of aqueous NaOH. The medium is water. So water is a polar solvent. So now this water polarizes this CCl bond, means this CCl bond polarity can be increased by the presence of this aqueous NaOH, and this tertiary butyl chloride splits into tertiary butyl carbocation and chlorine radical, sorry, chloride ion. CH3, Cl. First, this tertiary butyl chloride splits into tertiary butyl carbocation, CH3 plus Cl minus. As you know, in carbocation, the carbon atom undergo sp2 hybridization. So the shape of this tertiary butyl carbocation is trigonal planar. So this is having a trigonal planar geometry if you observe here. This is, and the carbon undergo sp2 hybridization. This is the first step. Next, step 2. Now, what the tertiary butyl carbocation formed here, this tertiary butyl carbocation is attacked by the nucleophile OH minus of NaOH. NaOH splits into Na plus and OH minus. Now the OH minus attacks the carbocation. See, CH3, CH3 and CH3 with the carbon base positive charge. Now here, in two ways the OH minus can attack here. The nucleophile OH minus can attack this carbocation either from the front side or from the rear side. Two possibilities are there. The nucleophile OH minus attack the carbocation from the either side and gives the mixture of two products here. CH3, 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 OH. One compound with the same configuration. See what the configuration of haloalkane is there. With the same configuration, we can get alcohol if the OH minus attack from the front side. If the OH minus attack from the rear side, then you can get the product like this. This is. So one structure with a retention of configuration, one with the inversion of configuration. What is this retention inversion? After this mechanism, I will explain it clearly. So the second step is the OH minus nucleophile attack the carbocation from the either side of the carbon and gives a racemic mixture. This is the molecule with a retention of configuration. This is the molecule with inversion of configuration. So almost this is formed to an extent of 50% and this is formed to an extent of 50% approximately. Maybe or may not be exactly. Generally, the product with the inversion of configuration is predominant over the product with retention of configuration. Why? Because when this nucleophile approaches this tertiary haloalkane, there exists a repulsion between the attacking nucleophile and the leaving nucleophile. So what the leaving Cl minus is there and the attacking OH minus is there, these will repel each other. But when the same OH minus is attacked from the rear side, there is no repulsive interaction. That means OH minus can attack from the rear side than compared from the front side. That's why when it attacks from the rear side, then we can get inversion of configuration. So in these two products, generally inverted product is predominant over retention product. Suppose if both retention and inversion product are formed in equal extents, this is called as a racemic mixture. And regarding this racemic mixture also we'll discuss later in optical isomerism very clearly. So this is the mechanism of this reaction. Let us see once again. Tertiary butyl chloride undergo hydrolysis with aqueous NaOH and use tertiary butyl alcohol. This is the reaction. Now, this reaction takes place in two steps. The first step is ionization of tertiary butyl chloride. So this tertiary butyl chloride ionizes to give a tertiary butyl carbocation. In carbocation, carbon is sp2 hybridized. So the shape of this carbocation formed here is trigonal planar. Next, step 2. The second step is the nucleophile OH minus attack from the front side or from the rear side, and we can get the mixture of the product with retention of configuration and the product with inversion of configuration. Generally, in most of the cases, the product with the inversion of configuration is predominant over product with retention of configuration. Why? Because when the nucleophile attack from the front side, there exists a repulsion between the attacking nucleophile and existing nucleophile. What the nucleophile is going to separate, leaving nucleophile and attacking nucleophile repel each other. That's why it can attack easily from the rear side than compared to front side. So product with inversion of configuration is formed predominantly over retention of configuration. Suppose If these two are formed in to the equal extent, that is inversion is 50% and addition is 50%, then that mixture what is formed is called as racemic mixture. Now, for this reaction, let us see the energy level diagram. So, potential energy. Here, PE means just potential energy. Okay, these are reaction coordinates. There is a reactants, products, and reaction intermediates. Now, this is the energy of the reactants. First, these reactants are converted to a reaction intermediate carbocation. This is carbocation. Nothing but reaction intermediate, RI means reaction intermediate, nothing but this carbocation, tertiary butyl carbocation. And then this tertiary butyl carbocation is attacked by the nucleophile and we can get a product. Now, this is the potential energy diagram for this SN1 mechanism. Now, if you observe very clearly here, this is energy of reactants. This is the energy required for the reaction to take place. But the required energy is more than compared to energy of reactants. This is the extra energy what is required here. So, this extra energy required for the reaction to take place is nothing but called as activation energy, EA. So, EA represents activation energy. So, this is the activation energy for the first step. This is the first step reaction path. And this is the second step reaction path. Now, if you observe here, in the second step, this is activation energy. So, here activation energy is less. So, this reaction takes place very easily than compared to this one. That means among these two, the first process requires more activation energy. This process takes place slowly. Whereas the second step requires less activation energy, so that reaction takes place very quickly. This is a fast reaction. Okay. So these two reactions will not take place with equal rates. For the first step, for the ionization of tertiary butyl chloride, more activation energy is required. Since more activation energy is required, the reaction takes place slowly. Next, the second step. The second step requires less activation energy. So the second step takes place more easily. That means the reaction takes place quickly. So this is the fastest step. Say if a reaction takes place in 2 or more steps, out of those steps, which is the slowest step, that is the rate determining step. That means out of these 2 steps, the first step is the rate determining step, since it is the slowest step. If a reaction takes place in 2 or more stages, 2 or more steps in the reaction mechanism, slowest step is the rate determining step. Now here, first step is the rate determining step. That means the rate of reactivity of this SN1 reaction depends on concentration of haloalkane. It does not depend on concentration of attacking nucleophile. So here, the rate of reaction depends on only one component of the reaction, that is concentration of haloalkane, but not on the concentration of NaOH. 2 reacting species are there, but the rate determining step contains only one reacting species. That means this rate of reaction depends on the concentration of only haloalkane. Only one molecule is involved in the rate determining step. So that's why this is called as unimolecular. SN1 I mentioned here. 1 represents unimolecular. Since rate depends on the concentration of only one molecule, this is called as a unimolecular nucleophilic substitution reaction. Okay. Right. So this is regarding a mechanism of SN1 reaction. Now let us see some characteristics of this SN1 mechanism. So here in the rate determining step, how many molecules are participating? Only one molecule. So this is a unimolecular reaction. So this is a unimolecular reaction. Next. Here the reaction takes place in how many steps? Two steps. So it is a two-step mechanism. That means the reaction takes place in two steps. Next. Here, the reaction takes place through the formation of carbocation as a reaction intermediate. See, this carbocation is not the reactant, not the product. Nowhere is there in the reaction. So this carbocation is formed as a reaction intermediate and itself participate in the reaction. So carbocation formed as the reaction intermediate. So carbocation is formed as the reaction intermediate. Next. See, rate of reaction is directly proportional to concentration of haloalkane only, not on the concentration of nucleophile. So it depends on concentration of haloalkane only, not on the right. Next. It follows first order kinetics. See, what is order of reactivity? What are different types of order of reactivity? We'll learn very clearly in chemical kinetics chapter. So I'll tell you what is first order reaction. See, in the rate determining step, how many reacting species are there? That is nothing but the order of reaction. Number of molecules that are participating in the rate determining step is nothing but order of reaction. Or number of molecules that are participating in the slowest step of reaction, that is the order of reaction. Since here only one molecule is there, it follows first order kinetics. Next. Here, in this reaction, a carbocation is formed as the reaction intermediate. Suppose if the carbocation contains tertiary or quaternary beta carbon atom, then it undergoes some rearrangement. And then less stable carbocation can rearrange to more stable carbocation. That means if the primary carbocation is formed, that can rearrange to secondary. If secondary is formed, secondary can rearrange to tertiary. Later I will show some examples for this also, for rearrangement also. So carbocation undergo rearrangement. So rearrangement of carbocation takes place in this reaction. Next. See here, racemic mixture is formed as the product here. So racemization takes place. So during SN1 mechanism, racemization takes place. Next. So here, what is the order of reactivity of haloalkanes for SN1 mechanism? So the reactivity of haloalkanes depends upon the stability of carbocation. What is the order of stability of carbocation? Tertiary greater than, secondary greater than, primary. This is the order of stability of carbocation. What the stability of carbocation is there, the same order the reactivity of haloalkanes will be there. If carbocation is more stable, that can be attacked by nucleophile. If it is less stable, same reaction will be reversed here. So the order of reactivity of haloalkanes Rx. The order of reactivity of haloalkanes is tertiary greater than, secondary greater than, primary. This is the order of reactivity of haloalkanes. Next. So this reaction is favorable in polar protic solvents. Polar protic solvents are favorable for this reaction to take place. So these are the characteristics of SN1 mechanism. Let us see once again. It is an unimolecular reaction. So because here the rate determining step, slowest step is the rate determining step. That slowest step contains how many molecules? That is the molecularity of the reaction. Actually, in the reaction, 2 molecules are participating here. That is not molecularity. In the rate determining step here, that means in the elementary step of the reaction. These are the elementary steps. In these elementary steps, in the slowest step, how many molecules are participating here? 1 molecule. So this is an unimolecular reaction. Next, this reaction takes place in 2 steps. Formation of carbocation, attack of nucleophile on carbocation. 2-step mechanism. It follows a 2-step mechanism. And in this reaction, carbocation is formed as the reaction intermediate. And what the carbocation formed here, this carbocation may undergo rearrangements. Rearrangement of carbocation can take place. Next, here the rate of reactivity is directly proportional to the concentration of haloalkane. It does not depend on the concentration of nucleophile, because rate determining step involves only haloalkane, not the nucleophile. So the rate of reaction does not depend on concentration of nucleophile. That means here a weak nucleophile is required. A weak nucleophile is required in this case of SN1 mechanism. No need of having strong nucleophiles. And then racemization. Since carbocation can be attacked from by the nucleophile from either side of the carbocation, we can get the product with retention as well as inversion in equal amounts. Then the process is called racemization. Next, what is the order of reactivity of these haloalkanes? The order of reactivity of haloalkanes is tertiary greater than, secondary greater than primary. And medium, solvent. So what the solvent we are using here? Aqueous, water. So this is a polar protic solvent. So this SN1 mechanism is more favorable in polar protic solvents. These are some characteristics of SN1 mechanism. Okay. Now, what I said here? Carbocation can undergo rearrangement. Then how the rearrangements takes place in a SN1 reaction? Let us see some examples here. So rearrangements involved in SN1 mechanism. See the beta carbon. Let us see what is beta carbon here. CH3, CH, CH3, CH, Cl, CH3. This is reactant. This is nothing but 2-chloro-3-methyl butane. The halogen attached carbon is alpha carbon, and the next carbon is beta carbon. So in haloalkanes, if the beta carbon is either a tertiary or quaternary, then the rearrangement of carbocation takes place. Now, so when this is allowed to react with NaOH, what is the product formed here? CH3, CH, CH3, CH, OH, CH3. Still now just what we discussed, based on that this should be the product. But this is not the reaction product formed here. What we assume here? Cl minus replaced by OH minus. So with elimination of NaCl, we can get this product. In place of Cl minus, OH minus should come. But this product will not be formed here. Which product is formed in this reaction? Let us see now what the product formed actually I'll represent here. The actual product formed here is this is 2-chloro-3-methyl butane. Now our export product should be 3-methyl 2-butanol. That should be expected, but instead of that this will be this product will be formed as the major product here. How this product is obtained? Actually, chlorine is present here at the second carbon, but here OH is introduced at third carbon. How this reaction takes place? Now, this reaction takes place by the rearrangement of carbocation. Then how that takes place here now? CH3, CH, CH3, CH, Cl, CH3. This is the reactant species. What is the first step? First step is formation of carbocation. Then what the carbocation formed here? CH3, C, CH3, H, CH plus, CH2. So this is the carbocation what is formed here. What is the nature of this carbocation? This is a secondary carbocation. Now, this carbocation undergo rearrangement here. How the rearrangement takes place? Just here. So, this electron pair gained by H, then H becomes H minus. That H minus is called as hydride. Now, this H minus attacks this carbon. Since this carbon loses this electron pair, C becomes C plus. CH3, C, CH3. This carbon loses this electron pair, so C becomes a C plus. Now, what the hydride ion found by gaining this electron pair H minus? That hydride ion donates that electron pair to this carbon. This is C plus accept electron pair from H minus. Then this becomes CH2, CH3. Now, what is the nature of carbocation? Tertiary. Now, secondary carbocation rearranges to give more stable tertiary carbocation. This is secondary carbocation gives tertiary carbocation by the transfer of a hydride ion. This is the let this as first one, this as second one. So between first and second, means between adjacent to two carbon atoms, the hydride ion transfer takes place. So this is called as 1,2 hydride shift. 1,2 hydride shift, this is called as. So from the adjacent carbon of carbocation, hydride ion is transferred to carbocation. Then secondary carbocation rearranges to give tertiary carbocation. What the change that takes place is between first and second on the adjacent carbon atoms, hydride ion is transferred. Hydride ion shift takes place from one carbon to another carbon. That's why this is called as 1,2 hydride shift. So by this 1,2 hydride shift, we can get a more stable tertiary carbocation from less stable secondary carbocation. This is the first, this is the rearrangement involved in the formation of carbocation. This is step one, nothing but. Now, second step as usual. What the carbocation formed there? CH3, C, CH3 plus CH2, CH3. This is the carbocation formed here. Now this carbocation is attacked by OH minus, and then we can get product. CH3, C, CH3, OH, CH2, CH3. Then what is the name of this product? 1, 2, 3, 4. 2-methyl. This is 2-methyl butane. 2-methyl butane 2-ol. This is the product formed here. Actually, our expected product is 1, 2, 3, 4. 3-methyl butane 2-ol. Okay, but what we got here? 2-methyl butane 2-ol because of rearrangement. So 1, 2, 3, 4. At second position, methyl group is there. 2-methyl. Root word is but. Single bonds are there in butane. At second position, OH functional group is there. Ol, secondary suffix. So 2-methyl butane 2-ol. So This is one type of rearrangement that takes place in a SN1 mechanism. Okay, this is called 1,2 hydride shift. So in haloalkane, if the beta carbon is a tertiary carbon, then here 1,2 hydride shift takes place. Now, one small change I'll do here. See now, the same. Instead of H here, I will take CH3. Then what is our expected product? Our expected product, just like earlier, Cl minus replaced by OH minus. But in this case also, the rearrangement of carbocation takes place. Then the product formed here is CH3, C, CH3, CH, CH3, CH3, OH. This is the product what is formed. Our expected product is here and here methyl group should be there. Here OH should be attached. But instead of that, this is the actual product what is formed in this reaction. And here also rearrangement of carbocation takes place. Now let us see the mechanism for this one. Here instead of H, I have taken CH3. So this is the compound where beta carbon is quaternary carbon. Okay. Now the first step is loss of halide ion and forms a carbocation. What is the nature of this carbocation now? This is a secondary carbocation. Now, from the adjacent carbon atom, just like as earlier, this electron pair is gained by methyl group. Okay, and forms CH3 minus. That CH3 minus attacks this carbocation. So means here between first and second position from the adjacent carbons, 1,2 methyl shift takes place. Which group is shifted here? CH3 minus, methyl group. This electron pair gained by methyl group. And this CH3 minus attacks this carbocation. Then this carbon becomes positively charged. This carbon becomes carbocation C+. And now here already CH is there. At this CH we are attaching CH3. Now this is the carbocation what is formed here. What is the nature of this carbocation? This is a tertiary carbocation. Now here also first we will get a secondary carbocation as the reaction intermediate, and that secondary carbocation undergo rearrangement by 1,2 methyl shift and forms a tertiary carbocation. Now this tertiary carbocation, this is the tertiary carbocation. Now this tertiary carbocation is attacked by OH minus. OH minus donates electron pair to this carbon. Then we can get this is, so this will be formed as the product. Now let us see what is the name of this product. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2,3 dimethyl. Now this is 2,3 dimethyl butane 2-ol. So like this, in a SN1 reaction, after formation of carbocation, if less stable carbocation is formed, then if the beta carbon is a tertiary or quaternary carbon, then rearrangement is possible. So then rearrangement takes place and less stable carbocation rearranges to more stable carbocation. Suppose if the beta carbon is quaternary carbon, then 1,2 methyl shift takes place. If beta carbon is a tertiary carbon, then 1,2 hydride shift takes place. So these are examples. Just remember that if beta carbon is tertiary, it undergo 1,2 methyl shift. If beta carbon is quaternary, then it undergo 1,2 methyl shift. So by that secondary carbocation can rearrange to tertiary carbocation. Okay, so these are rearrangements that are involved in SN1 mechanism. Now, what are the factors? So, what are the factors that affect SN1 mechanism? So, these factors just required useful for objective. For PUC point of view, just they will ask the mechanism. That equation under tertiary butyl chloride hydrolysis equation and the mechanism 2 steps, you should explain that, sir. And this rearrangement of carbocations and products formed during rearrangements that they are asking in objective point of view. Now let us see that. What are the factors? What are the factors that affect SN1 mechanism? First one, structure of alkyl halide. The second one is nature of leaving group. Next, reactivity of nucleophile. Effect of solvent. Let us see first one here now. Structure of alkyl halides. See, as the substitution increases at the halogen attached carbon, the reactivity of haloalkanes towards SN1 reaction increases. Let us see now, CH3Cl, this is one compound. Now, one more, CH3, just a minute, CH3CH2Cl and CH3CH, one hydrogen replaced by methyl group, Cl, and one more hydrogen I'll replace with methyl. So, 3 haloalkanes are taken. In this, first one is primary haloalkane, next one is secondary haloalkane, and then tertiary haloalkane. Primary, secondary, and tertiary. Now, as the substitution of the carbon where halogen attached increases, then the stability of the carbocation formed increases. This forms primary carbocation, this forms a secondary carbocation, this forms tertiary carbocation. So here, depending on the stability of carbocation, the reactivity of haloalkanes depends. So the reactivity of primary haloalkanes is less than, secondary haloalkanes is less than tertiary haloalkanes. So this is the order of reactivity of this alkyl halides. Still, if you take some other benzyl halides are more reactive than allyl halides. Which is more reactive than tertiary, which is greater than secondary, which is greater than primary, which is greater than CH3X. So this is the order of reactivity of haloalkanes towards SN1 reaction. Benzyl greater than, allyl greater than, tertiary greater than, secondary greater than, primary greater than, methyl halide. So this is about the structure of alkyl halides. Nature of leaving group. So what is leaving group? Here we discussed even haloalkanes are allowed to react with NaOH. The leaving group is halide ion. Cl minus is the leaving group. So that leaving group plays an important role in the reactivity of SN1 mechanism. And this leaving effect the leaving effect of a nucleophile is directly proportional to its stability and inversely proportional to basicity. So leaving effect is inversely proportional to basicity. Let us take some example I explain here regarding haloalkanes only. HF, HCl, HBr, HI. What is order of acidic strength here for this? The order of acidic strength is HF is less than, HCl is less than, HBr is less than HI. This is order of acidic strength. Then what is the order of conjugate basic strength here? The order of conjugate basic strength is F minus is greater than, Cl minus greater than, Br minus greater than, I minus. So this is order of basic strength. So among this, F minus is a strong base, whereas I minus is weak base. See, basic strength is weak means it has less tendency to bind with a alkyl group. It has less tendency to donate this electron pair means it has more capacity to live readily. So if the basicity is more, it can form a strong bond. So we cannot replace that F minus easily. I minus, it is a weak base. Since it is a weak base, it can be replaced easily. Means its binding capacity with alkyl group is less and bulkiness is more. Simply, bulkier groups are better leaving groups. As the size of the leaving group increases, leaving effect increases. So leaving effect is also directly proportional to size. As the bulkiness, bulky groups are better leaving groups than compared to non-bulky groups. So here, among these, if you take I minus, Br minus, Cl minus, these are strong leaving groups, whereas F minus is a poor leaving group. So that's why in the reactivity we discussed, the order of reactivity is iodoalkane is greater than, bromoalkane greater than, chloroalkane greater than, fluoroalkanes. Why? Because iodide ion is the better leaving group. That's why iodoalkanes are more reactive. So here, leaving effect, the order of leaving effect is F minus is less than, Cl minus less than, Br minus less than, I minus. This is the order of leaving effect. Okay. So bulkier groups are better leaving groups, or weak bases are better leaving groups. So I minus is weak base, so it is the better leaving group. This is regarding nature of the leaving group. And even you can take some other leaving groups also, like NH2 minus, okay, N2 plus, okay, these are also, and some other groups are there, CH3COO minus and NR2 plus. These are all better leaving groups. Bulkier groups are better leaving groups. Water molecule, amine group, CH3COO minus, okay, and some other groups are better leaving groups. What are poor leaving groups is F minus is a poor leaving group. OH minus is a poor leaving group. So these are poor leaving groups because these are strong bases. Strong bases are poor leaving groups. So the reactivity of haloalkanes towards SN1 reaction is directly proportional to the leaving effect of the group. Better the leaving group, more the reactivity towards SN1. Next. So reactivity of nucleophile. Next case. Actually here nucleophile has no effect because the rate determining step involves only haloalkane, does not involve nucleophile. So the concentration of nucleophile has no effect on the reactivity of SN1 mechanism. So no need of having strong nucleophiles. So any nucleophile can take place in this reaction after formation of carbocation. So there is no effect of this nucleophile. Means rate of reaction does not depends on concentration of nucleophile. Now come to effect of solvent. Polar product solvents. Polar product solvents favors SN1 mechanism. What are polar product solvents? So solvents which can release protons are called polar protic solvents. Solvents, different types are there: polar protic, polar aprotic, non-polar, like this. So polar protic solvents are favorable for SN1 mechanism. What these polar aprotic solvents are? Nothing but take water, alcohols, ROH, carboxylic acids. All these can release proton. So these are proton releasing solvents. So proton releasing solvents, these are polar in nature. So polar protic solvents favors SN1 mechanism, because in the presence of this polar protic solvents, the ionization of haloalkane takes place readily. For example, take RX. This RX will be split as R plus and X minus. So this polar protic solvents favors ionization of haloalkane to give carbocation readily. And then in polar protic solvents, what the attacking nucleophile is there? So if you are using aqueous NaOH, the attacking nucleophile is OH minus. Actually, OH minus is a strong base, but this OH minus undergo solvation by this protic solvents. That means this is surrounded by water molecules like this. Since this OH minus will undergo solvation, its nucleophilicity will be decreased. Means bulkiness increases. As bulkiness increases, nucleophilicity decreases. So, in the presence of polar protic solvents, the attacking nucleophile undergo more extensive solvation. Since it undergo more extensive solvation, its nucleophilicity will be decreased. That means this behaves as a weak nucleophile. Okay. Right. So these are the four factors which can affect SN1 mechanism. Structure of alkyl halides: benzyl greater than, allyl greater than, tertiary greater than, secondary greater than, primary greater than methyl halide. This is order of reactivity. Next, reactivity of nucleophile. So better the leaving group, so more the reactivity towards nucleophilic substitution. Effect of reactivity of nucleophile. So rate of reaction does not depends on the strength of nucleophile. So a weak nucleophile even carry out the reaction. So no effect of nucleophile concentration. Effect of solvent: polar protic solvents are favorable for the formation of this, means for this SN1 reaction to take place. And some other factors, just see one more factor. Say, if you take a primary, secondary and tertiary, in this tertiary haloalkanes undergo SN1 mechanism. Whereas if you take a secondary haloalkanes, these can undergo both SN1 and SN2 mechanism. Primary haloalkanes undergo only SN2 mechanism, but in some specific cases, it can also undergo SN1 reaction. So in continue. All right. So this is for today's class. In tomorrow class, we'll discuss regarding SN2 mechanism, SNI mechanism, and what type of compounds, which haloalkane can give SN1 reaction or SN2 reaction, how to predict, and what are some specific cases are there. All those in tomorrow class we'll discuss. Okay, thank you.